Commander Zethkari's mandibles clicked nervously as he watched the monitoring screens from the safety of the orbital station. Below on the surface of Keith Prime, the latest batch of Galactic Survival Academy candidates had just been deployed into the most challenging environment the civilized galaxy could devise. "Remind me again why we accepted humans into the program?" Zethkari asked his aide, a crystalline being named Quill who served as the Academy's chief administrator. Quill's form shimmered with uncertainty. "The Terran Alliance insisted, Commander. They claimed their species needed official certification for hazard pay negotiations with the Merchant Guild. The survival course on Keth Prime was legendary throughout the galaxy. A brutal combination of toxic atmosphere, predatory wildlife, extreme weather patterns, and resource scarcity that had been designed to test the absolute limits of sapient endurance. The previous record for completion belonged to a Vorthon warrior scholar who had managed to survive the full 100-year curriculum in 87 years. Most species took the full century, assuming they survived at all. The typical candidate would spend decades learning to identify safe shelter materials, memorizing the behavioral patterns of the planet's 17 apex predators, developing immunity to the various atmospheric toxins, and slowly building the mental fortitude necessary to endure the psychological isolation. "Sir," reported sensor operator Clicks, her 4 eyes wide with disbelief, "I'm reading some unusual activity from the human deployment zone." Zethkari moved to the primary display. On screen, the 3 human candidates, who had been dropped in separate locations according to protocol, were already in motion. Unlike previous candidates who typically spent their first few days finding shelter and cataloging immediate threats, the humans appeared to be collecting things. "What are they doing?" Zethkari muttered. The first human, a female designated as Sarah Chen in the Academy records, had fashioned a crude spear from local vegetation and was tracking one of the smaller predators. Within hours, she had not only killed it, but had begun processing its carcass with improvised tools. "She's eating it," whispered Clicks. "She killed a Krex hound and she's eating it." The second human, Marcus Webb, had located a cave system that previous candidates had always avoided due to the presence of acid-spitting tunnel worms. Rather than flee, Marcus had systematically begun hunting the worms, using their own acidic secretions to hollow out additional living space. "Impossible," breathed Quill. "Those worms have a Class 9 toxicity rating. Direct contact should cause immediate tissue necrosis." But it was the third human, Jake Morrison, who truly defied comprehension. He had discovered a grove of death spore trees, plants so lethally toxic that most species couldn't survive within a kilometer of them. Jake was not only camping beneath them, he appeared to be cultivating them, using the deadly spores to create some kind of primitive but effective insecticide. "Commander," Clix's voice was barely a whisper, "they're not just surviving, they're thriving." As the day progressed, the 3 humans had somehow made contact with each other across the vast deployment zone. They moved with purpose, displaying an intuitive understanding of the planet's dangers that should have taken years to develop. Sarah had domesticated a pack of Krex hounds. Marcus had turned his cave into a fortified base complete with worm acid defenses. Jake had cultivated enough death spore trees to create a perimeter that kept the larger predators at bay. "How long have they been down there?" Zethkari asked, though he already knew the answer. 14 hours, sir." By the 18-hour mark, the humans had constructed what could only be described as a thriving settlement. They had running water, a sustainable food source, defensive fortifications, and what appeared to be a primitive but effective communication system using the planet's natural electrical storms. "Sir," Clicks reported, her voice hollow with shock, "they're requesting extraction." "What?" "The humans, sir. They're done. They've completed the survival requirements and are requesting pickup." Zethkari stared at the screens in disbelief. The curriculum checklist that typically took a century to complete had been finished in less than a day. The humans had identified and cataloged all major threats, established sustainable resource acquisition, demonstrated mastery of the local ecosystem, and achieved long-term habitation viability. But that's impossible," Quill stammered. "The psychological conditioning alone should take decades. The toxin immunity development, the predator behavioral analysis, the—" "Commander," Sarah's voice crackled through the comm system. This has been great, but we've got a transport scheduled back to Earth tomorrow. Any chance we could wrap this up? You've completed the course? Seth Kari managed to ask. Course? Oh, the survival thing. Jake's voice joined the conversation. Yeah, this place reminds me of summer camp back in Australia. Bit tamer, actually. Fewer things trying to kill you. Marcus chimed in. The food's not bad either. That Crexhound tastes like chicken, and the tunnel worm has this nice nutty flavor. We've got enough preserved to last months if we needed to stay longer. Seth Kari looked at his aide, then at the sensor operator, then back at the screen showing the impossible human settlement, thriving on the galaxy's most lethal training ground. Quill, he said slowly, make a note in the Academy records. Effective immediately, humans are exempt from the survival course requirement. Sir? And send a message to the Galactic Council. I think we need to reconsider our classification of Earth as a habitable world. On the screens below, the three humans were playing what appeared to be a game with one of the larger predators, while roasting meat over a fire fueled by processed death spore wood. Seth Kari shuddered. Deathworlders indeed,